Hello, I'm Dr. Jeff Gold, and I have the honor of serving as the president of the University of Nebraska system. Welcome to another episode of Shaping the Future, where we get to talk with faculty, staff, students, community members, alumni, and so many others who are making a difference here at the University of Nebraska. Our guest today is Mr. Troy Dannen, who of course needs little or no introduction. Troy is the athletic director for Nebraska Athletics here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln campus, and he's in his first year on the job. And by the way, so am I, Troy, of course. But he's hitting the ground running. Troy came to Lincoln after serving as director of athletics for the University of Washington and Tulane University and the University of Northern Iowa before that. So we're so excited to have you with us today, Troy, and thanks for giving us a few minutes.
I appreciate it. I'm having the time of my life back in the Midwest and here at the University of Nebraska.
Well, you know, before we talk athletics, our audience is always interested in what was your career like, your trajectory? How did did you wake up one morning as a high school student or a middle school student and say, Mom and Dad, I'm going to be an athletic director someday at a Big Ten university? Or how did that actually happen? I'm guessing that was probably not the scenario.
No, I always hoped and dreamed that I was going to follow your path. I wanted to go to med school and I wanted to be a doctor. And I realized once my education started that it didn't make my heart beat faster.
Or slower.
Yeah, exactly. But I wanted to find something that made my heart beat, something that I got excited for every day. And I love to be a part of sports and athletics. I wasn't good enough to do it on the field. So trying to find a way to do it off the field and behind the scenes and still be a part of it. But, even to this day, my heart beats fast when I wake up until I go to bed at night. And it has for really 18 years of being a Division I athletic director.
Well, that's so exciting. And so you've been here, since April, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah,
March?
I think the end of March, the week of the NCAA tournament appearances. I gotta make my debut in Memphis and in Corvallis for the women's tournament.
I remember that.
So
that was quite a time there when you were coming on board. I remember the press conference when everybody gathered to meet you. That was really so very exciting. And so what's the first couple months been like? What's Husker Athletics? How have they embraced you? Because I know they have, and particularly, for you and your family, I'm interested in.
The first couple of months, in a way, is a lot of listening and learning and trying to understand the culture. You think you know it, and I grew up in Iowa. I was there for the first 48 years of my life, and I looked across the border in Nebraska, thought I knew it, and I've had some of that validated. Some things I've learned, they're well beyond whatever I could have imagined before, but. In this day and age, you don't have a lot of time to learn. There's a lot of decisions to make and a lot of moves to start walking on the road of. So it's been busy. I got my staff all put together. I've probably made 15, 20 appearances out around the state doing different things. And
you and I were at the Cattlemen's Ball together.
We have been 2 or 3 times at different events. And, I will say this. One of the things that drew me to Nebraska was people's passion and their love and ownership of the Huskers, the entire state.
Without a doubt.
And that's just been reaffirmed over and over and over again in ways that I couldn't possibly have imagined until I got here. It's great to be around because no matter what the job is, people are going to determine whether you have a chance to succeed or fail.
Absolutely.
People are going to determine whether you love what you do or you don't. And the people of Nebraska so far have shown me that we're going to succeed, and I'm going to love what I do.
Well, Nebraskans have an incredible way of sensing the real thing, and I think that's what you bring to the table here in so many different ways. So what does the season look like? Have any predictions for us? I've already been predicting bowl eligibility and volleyball championship playoffs and everything else that goes with it. So do you have your thoughts you want to share?
Well, I've always shied away from and never wanted to put our coaches in a box by having their boss predict how many games they're going to win or not win.
And I get that.
But we're coming off a year when we won 5 Big Ten championships. We've never done that before in the years in the Big Ten, and coming off a year where we were 22nd in the country in all sports standings. We were 3rd in the country where total attendance coming through the turnstiles for our 7 ticketed sports. I would tell you, I think the expectations are, or at least that, we're in a really good position. We have great people coaching. Our athletes are exceptional, and I think across the board we continue to get better there. Our resources, our fan base, every way that it takes to build success, and in football in particular, which everybody wants to know about. We have a second-year coach who's really instilled his culture and who has a history of showing market improvement. And he's come into jobs where maybe they weren't winning at the level that people expected and hoped to win. So I think we all have high hopes. And do we have the support structure necessary for success? It's not just Matt Rhule, it's not just the football program, but is our sports medicine, is our marketing, is our compliance, is our fundraising, are all those units up to the talent challenge of competing for Big Ten championships? And I think we're well on our way.
Well, you mentioned briefly name, image, and likeness, the three magic letters, NIL, and you and I have spent a lot of time unpacking that. Obviously, the Big Ten board has spent a lot of time with the Council of Presidents and Chancellors, and this might be a good opportunity to share your thoughts about it, because my take on it is it's both a challenge and an opportunity. For us.
It is, and it's new, it's different. It's not the way most of us grew up looking at college athletics, meaning the athletes being directly compensated, and some call it evolution, some call it a revolution, but I tend to be with the former. It's just the evolution of our game, and I think with the money that's in our business right now, the athletes benefiting directly from that, like any other student could benefit. A student musician could benefit. A student researcher in the sciences could benefit. Now our student athletes have the chance to benefit. It's added. It's a different complication in our world that we're not used to. But your ability to look around the corner, adapt, and anticipate, and make the move there first gives you the chance to lead. And one of the things at Nebraska is we've always led in what I would say are the student welfare areas, strength and conditioning with Boyd Epley way back in the day, our nutrition, our academic support, what we do with our life skills. This is just another opportunity for us to lead, and so whether it's today in NIL and tomorrow, in a year, we're due to federal antitrust cases, we'll be sharing revenue directly with our athletes.
Sure.
And finding ways to do it in such a way that, one, we empower their success, but two, we don't know what's consistent with the philosophies of the University of Nebraska in our state. It's a chance to lead, and anytime you can lead, and you come to Nebraska because you have the chance to lead.
Well, I think that's exactly the right approach. I do get asked the question all the time, and we should just put this to rest, that there are some folks out there who think we have a choice as to whether to participate in all of these NIL revenue sharing and payment methodologies that have been the subject of the class action lawsuits. Yeah. And best of my knowledge and understanding, that this is not a multiple choice question. Right.
It's not. I mean, certainly everything that's happening is permissive, and you could choose to be a part of it or choose to not be a part of it. We've chosen to be in the Big Ten. We've chosen to compete for national championships. We've chosen to try to be among the elite in the country in everything that we do. And in order to do that, we're not competing against Nebraska of 30 years ago when it won its fifth national championship. We're competing against the Michigans and the Ohio States of today, and the investments that are being made, and of tomorrow. So it's really not an option if you want to have success. And so finding ways to invest, no different than coaches' salaries, no different than the infrastructure and facilities. We have some of the greatest facilities in the United States.
Without a doubt.
But we chose to invest in that in an effort to lead, in an effort to compete for those championships. This is just another area that's been introduced to us as the opportunity to invest. Not a have to, but it's an opportunity for us to invest in our students and continue to further that goal of competitive success.
We talk a lot about being competitive on the playing field, in the classroom, in the research laboratory, and so much beyond that. And in the spirit that Husker Athletics brings to the table, that you bring to the table, that our coaches bring to the table, I think is highly synergistic with what we're trying to do university-wide.
Well, I think, it doesn't matter what aspect of the university, whether it's athletics, academics, research, fundraising, or it doesn't matter what your business is. If you're not in it to win it, get out. And we want to win academically, we want to win socially, we you expect me to win fiscally, right? But we certainly want to, in everything that we do, we want to win and we want to have success. And our job, our success, our ultimate personal success is whether we empower the success of someone else when you're involved in education. And that's certainly what everyone and everything at Nebraska, that's what the expectations are.
Yeah, and I think that is absolutely across the board. And the more aspirational goals, the more bold they are, the more Nebraskans can understand them, grasp them, and help make all of us successful. Yeah. So I am absolutely convinced that we're going to not only have a great season, but the future for this university, our athletic programs, and of course our academic programs is very bright. And I want to thank you for joining the team and being such a great leader and being such a great friend. I very much look forward to being side by side with you during this journey. And I am really excited about the upcoming season and kickoff day and every one of the other sports. I have a goal, which is to attend at least one match, playoff event for every single one of our teams before their respective season is over. So I'm working really hard on the calendar because I've got a lot of commitments. And guess what? I'm sure you know this. There's a good deal of overlap among all of those teams. Men's, women's, here, away. I'm going to do my darn best to do that, and I'm sure you will too.
Well, I would say this, we have about 550 student athletes participating in the involvement of the president, the fact that the institution cares, not just the athletic department, but the institution cares about their experience and your presence. It's impactful. It's a big deal to all of them, and we all appreciate it. And I would tell you, personally, I'm just very thankful for the opportunity that I've been given, to be here at the University of Nebraska. This is one of the great bastions of the game. It's a brand that is one of the top 5 brands in the history of college football, and so to be a part of it and to share in the ownership that the Nebraska constituents have, it's quite an honor.
Well, the best is yet to come, Troy.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for being with us today, and thank you for being us today on this very special episode.